chapter, going through the 10 offenses. What we have covered so far, 9 offenses. Offense number 1, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2, to consider the names of the demigods like Shiva or Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of Vedic version. 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination or exaggeration. 6, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter, and to be inattentive when chanting the holy name. In this section, if I remember right, we covered a couple of pages, and we'll continue studying, reading from this one. The self-realized, spiritually perfected soul can clearly realize the material body which he carries around with all its needs as a burden. Not only is material covering the body, but this whole material existence is discerned by him as an unnatural encumbrance, in the same way as one may feel the pressure of bundle of wood on the shoulders. Sarvagnya Acharya describes such an attitude. Here's a paragraph by Sarvagnya Acharya. Oh my Lord, how extraordinary your devotees are. For them, the wide ocean is like a tiny puddle, the sun like a firefly, the looming golden Mount Sumeru like a lump of dirt, a powerful emperor like a minor servant, a priceless jewels like useless stones, the desired trees like dried twigs for them. The whole material existence is like an insignificant bundle of straw. What else to say? They regard their own body as a useless burden. It's just comparing here to see how this world is not a big deal for such devotees. The materialistic person, however, completely misconceiving this burden, explains, that's me. When such a person hears about the glories of the holy name, he does not accept them. If he chants them as a mere social obligation or out of custom, in this way, he will never experience real pleasure in chanting and hearing the holy names. He is hypocrite who chants the holy name disdainfully. Thus, being on the stage of Nama Abhasa, he will never attain prema, pure love of God. Parikshit Maharaj describes his materialistic mentality, which leads one around and around in materialistic activities as follows. One may know that sinful activities is injurious for him because he actually sees that a criminal is punished by the government and rebuked by people in general, and because he hears from scriptures and learned scholars that one is thrown into hellish condition in the next life for committing sinful acts. Nevertheless, in spite of such knowledge, one is forced to commit sins again and again, even after performing acts of atonement. Therefore, what is the value of such atonements? So this is by Parikshit Maharaj, is asking Sukadeva Goswami about options and things that where he can be freed. And Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami gives that do an atonement. By doing he gives very options, level 1, level 2, level 3. The first one he says is do atonement. And then that's where Parikshit Maharaj comes back and says, atonement is not going to be a solution because the tendency to commit sins is still there in the heart. As long as we have the tendency to commit sins, the atonement is just a eye wash. We are going to continue doing sinful activities. Likewise. Okay. For a materialistic person with the mentality to enjoy at all costs, all help comes all help comes too late in spite of instruction from others, personal experiences, and a combination of both. I think this is coming from also Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. This is illustrated by someone who's determined not to get up and thus pretend to sleep. Mm. Someone doesn't want to change their lifestyle, they're pretending sleep. They're like pretending to sleep. They don't want to get up. It is impossible to waken him, to wake them up because they don't want to get up. Similarly, a person who wants to retain his materialistic mentality can only be liberated with great difficulty, and he will not be able to taste the nectar of the holy name. Therefore, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur renders an alternative definition of the 10th offense, that is, to not feel pleasure in chanting the holy name even after having heard the glories of Sri Harinama. Nevertheless, there is a remedy. In such a situation, one should associate with personalities who have accepted the holy name, have attained the platform of Shuddha Bhakti, pure Bhakti. They have given up all material attachments. They worship lotus feet of Krishna in a humble state of mind and are always chanting his names. The offender should serve these persons with the intention to also forego his attachments. So that's a solution. So how to get rid of this attachment or get taste of holy name is by serving those person who has that taste for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by worshipping Krishna's lotus feet in great devotion and fully taking shelter of the chanting of the holy name. He will gradually be able to focus on the holy name. Attraction will develop and the egoistic conception of I and mine will disappear. In this way, he will cross the ocean of material ignorance by hearing the glories of the holy name. The last traces of false ego will vanish and the symptoms of pure devotion will blossom in his heart. Finally, will be able to taste pure love of Krishna. This is beautiful paragraph. How one gets to the taste of Harinam is gradually mentioned here. As long as, however, there is no real faith in the glories of the holy name, it is necessary to receive Sambandha Jnana and knowledge about the holy name from the spiritual master. This illustrates that as in overcoming the other offenses, this offense is also dependent on the association of devotees who are on a high level of Krishna consciousness. Last paragraph. Now it becomes clear why the offense to blaspheme the devotees is mentioned in the first place. All remedies for the other offenses strongly emphasizes to approach devotees who do not commit these offenses but who are the contrary are situated in Shuddha Nama, pure chanting of the holy name. In other words, because the devotees are the liberators from the abscess of the 10 offenses, it is most important to respect them. There we go. The topic of respect is here. An offense against their lotus feet is very severe because if one has done so, he cannot adapt the remedy for the offenses against the holy name. So, what Maharaj is saying here is we got to be careful on the first offense. Do not blaspheme the devotees or be disrespectful to the devotees because ultimately we need the help of devotees for our own purification. Therefore, it's very important in connection with what His Holiness Romapada Swami said about this trip, respect, Vaishnava etiquette with respect. So we got to be very careful on having that respect. And the important thing that I liked in Maharaj yesterday's presentation was one of the question asked. And one of the question is said, the last question, where he said, irrespective of whatever options we take, whether you want to be silent, whether you want to address the issue, whether you want to report the issue, however it is, but do not lose respect on that particular devotee. That was a key message from what I at least got from yesterday. Is a very nice presentation by Maharaj, and let's looking forward for the other series to come. With that said, we have a few minutes here. If anyone have any discussions or questions or sharing of realization, please unmute and speak. Before you speak, I just want to also say it's very encouraging and very impressive to see this program is really picked up. It's going very nicely. That shows that how serious you're all, in spite of my absence for past 3 days, that you're all joining and doing this one. This is exactly what is needed. We don't want to be policed. We don't want someone to be monitoring our thing, whether you're doing or not. In these 3 days, you've been really doing very nicely, joining this call irrespective I'm there or not. This is exactly what has been, what is needed. So there's self-discipline for following certain things. So I really sincerely thank you all, and also thank for those who hosted the program but still able to still joining the next day. Amala Radhika Mataji and Manjira Mataji, they had a whole program, but still I see they've been joining the morning program without skipping it. Um, I see Bhaskar. Thank you, Bhaskar, for being part of this program. Hopefully, please continue every day. Thank you for rest of you all for continuing this one. Thank you. Is there any discussions, questions, sharings? Please feel free. Unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, bro. Hare Krishna.
So, in all of these 10 offenses, what's your personal opinion? I know all of these offenses are obviously need to be avoided, but I find that the last offense, especially I mean, you can respect, you can do everything else, but you know, we live in the material world where there's so much going on in our lives all the time. So, attentive chanting is really what I find is the most difficult. I've been chanting for some time now, but it's just that your mind gets carried away. So, what's your solution for that? You are at such a high stage.
That's a good joke early in the morning to tell I'm in a higher state. But anyway, thank you. Um, Tomorrow is going to be revealed. What is the most important of all this thing? What you said is exactly what it is. That is the root cause of all offenses. That's going to be the next topic for tomorrow while we are reading. That is to be inattentive while chanting the holy name. So as much as possible, we'll see tomorrow, but as much as possible, we have to bring our mind to the holy name, trying to chant attentively. When we try to do that, then other offenses all will be really taken care. Taken care means not that we can do nicely, we will avoid those offenses. So we have to try to focus on our chanting attentively. If that has been missed, then disrespect and all those different things will come into our mind. Judging people, finding faults, um, all those different things that you can think. So attentive chanting, as much as possible, we have to chant attentively. I know the mind is not so friendly, especially when we are trying to do good stuff. That is when mind will really try to bother us. He doesn't want us to do any good things. But irrespective of that, we take shelter of the Harinam Prabhu, Harinam Prabhu, the holy name, and pray, um, and try to focus as much as possible. As we focus slowly, first one name will be difficult to focus, then increases to second, third, and 1 round, and 2 round, and 3 rounds, and hopefully we can be fully fixed in chanting without any distraction. This is a practice we have to do. And best time to do this one again, it's a morning time. That's why we are gathering in the morning time to do at least a few rounds attentively so we can continue our chanting nicely next. And to practical other practical things to control our mind, Ashok Prabhu, other practical thing to control mind besides these things is to regulate our habits. This is the totally on the other angle. One is prayerful mode and trying to bring the focus of our mind to the chanting, and another practical aspect is try to regulate our habits. One of the main thing is to regulate only eating prasadam. Okay, as it is said that only Ahara Suddhi, Ahara Suddhi is very important. I mean, eating the food that is offered to Krishna, that's going to help us also in many ways. Try to eat those food it is offered to Krishna. That's where everything starts. If we are not doing that one, a satvika aharam, a sattva suddhi, satvika aharam, that will then it's going to be a challenge. If you're not eating sattvic food, then that may also be a problem. We can have to be careful on what we are eating, what we are putting inside, and what we are hearing and what we are speaking. These three things, if we can take care, then mind will come under some control. And then with practices and with the help of devotees, we should be able to attentively chant. Is that okay, brother?
Oh, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Uh, Prabhuji, I have a question. Anyway, this is a closed group, so I wanted to ask this in the regard with the lecture what Maharaj gave yesterday. So one Mataji asked the question like sometimes we give the respect and the intention is good, but it's not to the level of what the other person have taken it. The first question Mataji asked. So it's similar to that context. Another question also. Uh, we invest a lot of respect on one leader in let's say a leader, and we invest a lot of respect, and we have this one thing like okay they are the good leaders and we have learned a lot of knowledge and being good in Krishna conscious because of them, and then all of a sudden you get to know a lot of things about his personal thing or whatever, and they're just moved out, but we have invested years of respect for them, and sometimes it's really disturbing. Actually, if you take in my case, after coming to US, I heard a lot of news happening back in Hyderabad, and actually I cried for 2 days because I invested so much respect on few devotees. So how do we overcome? We have that level of respect, and now we just don't want to make them fall in front of eyes like they are nothing. So how to not to do some offense, but we know that is how to cut off that relationship and not to think a lot about it or something like that.
Okay. So this is where the thing comes. I don't know. It's already 5:33. I'll try to keep it short. Um, what we have to see in relationship is it is important. Definitely, it's important to that we develop our relationship outside of our family member based on the personalities of the person, their character, their behavior, their style, and whatever it may be. We develop that relationship. But when it comes to within the family, yes, there is an expectation of good behavior, care, and affection. But even though if that is lacking somehow the other within the family circle, we are trying to maintain that respect and care, irrespective of meeting of our expectation within the family circle. Do you agree with that one?
Yes, bro. Within the family circle, yes, bro.
Within the family circle, not that we all have our family members as per our expectation. They all varies. They may not do things that we really like them to do also, but irrespective of that, we are not cutting off that relationship. We still have, we don't call it as a respect, but there is a hidden statement of respect, hidden title as a respect is there for that relationship. So what makes us important for us within the family member is the relationship takes the higher priority rather than how the personality is. Because I'm committed to that person is committed to me. He's my son, he's my wife, he's my husband, he's my mother, she's my sister, etc. etc. Therefore, the relationships take precedence over their behavior and character, even though we may not like it. Yes?
Yes, bro.
Okay. Exactly what Krishna does. Krishna doesn't like us the way that we are behaving, but he places the relationship prior as a first position than our character. If Krishna wants to think about starting building relationship based on the character, then he won't find one person. Of course,
Mm,
great souls are there, right? Forget about that. But Krishna is not going to find any one of us. If he puts a criteria, I'll develop a relationship with you and me if you behave well. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
mm,
Therefore, Krishna, what he places on the higher priority is the relationship, not the character and behavioral thing. Right?
mm,
Yes.
mm,
Now extend that outside of our family member. When you see certain devotees of behavioral problems, etc. problem, you still have that. This is exactly what Maharaj was trying to tell yesterday. What we have to do is that we still have to maintain that respect. Not necessarily we have to change them, or not necessarily we start thinking bad about that person, because everyone in this world are bombarded by the three modes of material nature, number one. Second thing is previous vasanas. Third is karma. None
mm,
of us are really free of any of these things. One time I may be good, tomorrow I may be shouting at you, right? Or whatever thing, I may be go crazy. Right? So many things are there. Many factors are there. Now I'm not trying to justify the other person's behavior.
mm,
That is none of our problem of that
mm,
person behavioral change. That's not because of me that person changed. He is going through whatever reason it may be. He's
mm,
changed. He's
mm,
becoming against Krishna consciousness, or he's stolen the money from the temple, or whatever it may be. Whatever
mm,
it may be.
mm,
I'm not supporting that, but from
mm,
our side, we still maintain that respect, because that he has done so much of things. However, it was, he has served the temple, brought many devotees in the life of Krishna
mm,
consciousness, many things they have done. But it doesn't mean that we have to contemplate and start thinking of why, because we never
mm.
find an answer. It's going to be more disturbing for us
Yes,
rather than anything else. It's going to
yes.
be offensive also, because
Mm,
from what Maharaj said yesterday, irrespective of how the person is, do not lose the respect towards that person. That doesn't
mm,
mean to say tomorrow when you go to Hyderabad, fall at the person's feet until I respect you, Prabhu. It's not
mm.
necessary you need to
Yes,
do this one.
yes,
It's
yes.
mentally preparing yourself.
Mm.
Uh, We can go on with this one, but then I'd like to pause there. Is it okay?
Yes, yes. Well, but I got the gist of it, and if whenever you get time, you can clearly tell more detail because Prabhuji, because we need that when to stop and to have that respect forever instead of going into the fault finding, or as you said, to understand why it happened after so many years. Also, yeah, we need that support, Prabhuji. I especially me.
Yeah, I mean, in
Mm.
my life also, in my Krishna consciousness also, there was one person, one person who was a great preacher, great preacher. And then after I moved here, I came to know something about that person. But anyway, without getting into the detail, but
Yes.
I have a great respect for that person of what he is
Mm,
amazing thing he has done. But one small thing changed the whole thing on him, and he is out totally. But now he is doing a great service somewhere else. Uh,
mm.
So we never know. There's one Arvar bar, a Tondaradi Podi Arvar. His life is also similar thing. We can talk about these things later. Just
Yes, yes, sure.
thank you all very much for joining this morning. We have extra time tomorrow, so we can discuss more tomorrow and this Saturday and Sunday. With that said, thank you all very much. We'll meet again tomorrow at 5 a.m. Central. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful rest of the day.